want to do things to them. All right,
I'm keeping
Zach.
that.
All right, Zach. This is the direction we're going with.
Jesus. All right. So I guess before we begin, folks, I hope you all had a happy Christmas, had a happy New Year. Hopefully by now your New Year's resolutions have already been broken, because fuck you.
Jeez.
What, too far?
I don't know, dude. It just seems like you're a little mean.
I mean, after watching this movie, how can you not be a little down in the dumps?
I don't know.
Fernie, what do you think? Can we do an 11 count next week? Because we have a lot of shit to talk about.
Sure.
All right. But for this, you want to introduce us?
Hey, everybody. This is Fernando from the Rollback Podcast, and today Eddie and I are reviewing Iron Claw.
Oof. The tragic tale of the Von Erich family and the Von Erich family curse.
Yep.
Um, we're no strangers to wrestling. I would say we're pretty avid wrestling fans, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know how much did you know about the Von Erichs before you heard about this movie?
Not that much, to be honest. I had seen the Vice episode from Dark Side of the Ring a while back,
Mhm.
so that was what I knew. I mean, we're from Texas, but they're Dallas, so it's not
Yeah.
really like it's something that we grew up with. But apparently, our grandma and your dad liked the Von Erichs.
Yeah, yeah, no, my dad always mentioned how he liked I think it was Kevin because he
You think he
wrestled
got his hair
barefoot.
from Carrie?
Shit, he might have. I know he liked the fact that Kevin wrestled
Look at that
barefoot for some reason.
hair. Such volume.
And he has that hair to this day. Seriously, he will not change hairstyles. I don't think I would recognize my dad if he changed his hairstyle.
But yeah, apparently our grandma also liked the Von Erichs.
God, do you think she still would have liked him if she knew all the shit that was going on behind the scenes?
I'm sure she would have.
Christ. Um, but yeah, so the Iron Claw starts off not in 1979, but I think in the 50s when Fritz von Erich, the matriarch, sorry, the patriarch of the von Erich
Patriarch.
family,
Wow, you called him a
patriarch,
bitch? Jeez.
he would murder me. I don't want to call him a bitch. Um, but he appeared. He was at a wrestling show. He's walking out. He's with his wife, and he's really grit on like this persona of like if we're just the toughest, we work the hardest, we're the strongest, nothing can stop us, right? He instills that mantra into his kids, like
Yeah.
blood, sweat, and tears. Um, and then we jump forward to 1979. By this point, Fritz has taken over the WCCW, the World Class Championship Wrestling, if I'm not
The
mistaken.
precursor to WCW, right?
Yes, yeah. He ended up selling it. Well, he didn't sell it. His son sold it later. But yeah, um, the precursor to WCW. At the time, wrestling was still in territories, right? And they still had the NWA, who was the National Wrestling Alliance. Basically, all the promoters from all around the country, they were all together, kind of like the Senate almost. Like they each had a
Yeah.
vote, and they would vote on who
Yeah,
was the
because
torn
like when they
champion.
would call someone the world heavyweight champion, they were literally wrestling around the world.
They would send them to Japan, all over the country.
Yeah,
Like they would do title defenses.
these guys weren't just like, oh, I only wrestle in Texas. I'm the world heavyweight championship. No, like they rest like the NWA was if they put their belt on a guy, they were like, you're fucking going everywhere.
Yeah, and it's fucking rough. Because back then, like, here's a little peek behind the curtain, boys and girls. Wrestling is scripted. There's a thing.
What?
I know. Like, did I break it to you, Fernie? I'm sorry.
It's real to me, damn it.
No, no, it's not. No, it's not. So
Well,
back then,
that's the thing that people get wrong. Yes, it's scripted, but the
it's not
action is
fake.
real.
It's not fake. Watch this movie. You'll see how not fake it is.
No,
Um,
they're pretty much just stuntmen, like working out real stunts in real time.
yeah, it's oh man. But anyway, so Kevin Von Erich, who's our main guy, who I feel bad for him. He's kind of like a witness. He's like the Silver Surfer. He's never really the main guy. He's always just witnessing everything. But he's also the last
Hmm.
man standing. Played by Zac Efron. What do you think about Zac Efron's performance?
Uh, I mean, it's hard to do the Von Erichs because they're all fucking freak athletes. Like
I
they're
think
all super gigantically tall, and these guys are fucking not.
I think the two of the brothers were 6'2", and David was 6'4".
Yeah,
So you
and
can't butcher the height.
the dude from the Bear obviously is not.
I don't even think he breaks the 6 feet mark. I might be wrong, but I don't even think he breaks the
I
6 foot
think if
mark.
he does, he's 6 flat.
If that. Let me see. What's it? Jeremy Allen White. Let me look up his height real quick. Jeremy Allen White. Height. Oh shit.
How tall
Uh
is he?
for the record, he could still whoop my ass. He is 5'7".
Oh yeah, he's fucking short. And these guys are supposed to be playing the Von Erichs. The Von Erichs were big fucking dudes. Granted, I get it. Like sometimes you don't have a tall dude that can do the acting like these guys can do. But granted, I feel like I like the movie. Like I'm gonna start off saying I like the movie. But looking back on it, I feel like the director focused so much on Kevin's story
Hmm.
and not a lot on Carrie, who had a pretty good career
Hmm.
outside of WCCW.
Do you think the WWE would have given him permission? They showed SummerSlam very briefly, but like
Yeah.
almost, I think it was like they didn't have to worry about getting sued. Like it was, you barely saw the banner.
I think it's also they just didn't want to get roped into shit. But you know what's weird? I was watching
What?
those WWE documentaries, the biographies, the ones that they've been putting out on A&E.
Yeah.
I saw Shawn Michaels. Hey, they talk about him doing blow.
About Carrie or Sean doing blow?
Shawn Michaels. So I'm like, if they're okay with talking about real wrestlers doing blow, like why can't they like loan their shit out where the dudes are obviously doing steroids?
I think because Sean redeemed himself. Like if Sean's story ended with and he overdosed or blew his head off, I don't think they would have. I don't think that they would be mentioning him as much.
I mean, I guess, but yeah,
I,
but
he'd
I
be
can
like
see
Mr.
why
Perfect.
WWE didn't like if they used anything like they had to use I guess like a second before people start getting pissed off. Um,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think 10 seconds is the limit on YouTube. Maybe that's a universal law where after 10 seconds or more, that's when it becomes copyright infringement.
yeah, because I mean, from the research I did, Carrie probably had the better of the careers,
The
especially
Texas
because Dave,
tornado, right?
yeah, because David's was so short, and Kevin was always a real good worker, but he never had the mic skills to be the guy.
Yeah. They it's sad because like you begin with seeing Kevin working and his dads were proud of him. Hey, you just gotta push yourself, be the toughest, be the strongest. He has a tag match with Gino Hernandez and Bruiser Brody, which I mean, I would love to watch movies on their lives. I don't know if you know how fucked up their lives are.
Hey, did you notice that first match? The wrestler that's in the ring with Zac Efron's Chavo Guerrero.
Yes, yeah. Chavo was the wrestling coordinator, stunt
Yeah.
coordinator of this film.
Uh, I think it's potato, dude. I think it's the same shit.
He said like these guys were just, like so extensively trained because he wanted to make sure that like the wrestling looked good on camera. So
But
like
yeah,
they,
that's why. Like he made them train for camera wrestling, but like Chris Van Vliet asked him like, could these guys run like a full match? He's like, with the train they have now, no. But like if I train them, then yeah, they can.
I bet you they could probably do like a very basic match, but they probably don't know how to call spots though.
Yeah.
Mm. Um, but yeah, so Kevin and Eric have a tag match. Sorry, Kevin and Mike have a tag match with Bruiser Brody and Gino Hernandez. Which again, if they want to do a movie on Gino Hernandez's story, that would be fucking insane. Um, Afterwards, though, that's when he meets his wife Pam, the poor lady in this tragedy, and he talks about the Von Erich curse and about what happened to his brother Jack Jr., which uh sad. Did we mention his passing already or no?
No, I think it was off camera.
So Jack Jr. passes away via he touches a pipe that's attached to a live wire. It shocks him and he drowns, which I'm happy they didn't show that. A24 has the balls to probably show a child's death, but I'm glad they refrained from it for this one. Um, but anyway, he talks about the tragedy. He begins to fall in love with Pam. And up next, we have a big scene of Kevin in a match with Harley fucking Race.
Hmm.
And if he beats him, it's a championship contenders match, which
And
essentially, if he
Harley
beats
Race
him,
is stiffing the shit out of him.
for those of you who don't know wrestling, stiffing is when it's like you don't pull your punches, like you're actually trying to hurt them a bit.
Yeah, like he's I'm not sure if this is like the true story.
Yes, it
Like
is.
it
No,
is.
it is. No, so back
So
then,
yeah, like
it
he's
was common
really
practice back then.
he's testing him. He's like, let me see what this kid can do. And he's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna really fucking lay into him to fuck his ass up.
yeah. At one point, he suplexes Kevin on the outside onto fucking concrete, which folks nowadays there's padding out there. Back then, nope, no padding. He took a full suplex from like 7 feet. No, his back was probably like 9 feet in the air, straight down, and he couldn't get up. And he barely breaks the 10 count. And later on, his dad gets mad at him. You know, why
Like,
did
why are
you
you being
take
a
so?
pussy?
Yeah.
Hey man, I just fell on straight concrete.
Like, well, you would think nowadays they do that to build drama, but if for some reason back then ring psychology was like, "Oh, you're looking like a little bitch. You're supposed to no sell." I fell on concrete and I can't get up.
And I'm pretty sure like at the time he didn't flat back it or anything. It was just because it wasn't scripted. Like,
No,
it's not what they talked about.
they might talk about some spots like in advance. Like you see it at one point where they're like, "We're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. He's gonna do that. You're gonna do this." Boom! You guys get the win. You all look good. But
Yeah. Like
there's
if
some
anything, it
stuff.
was more like a cliff notes of
Yeah,
spots. Like they're like,
I
all right, we're gonna work through the match. I'm definitely hitting this, this, and this throughout the
yeah.
match. But other than
Um,
that, like I'm pretty sure it was all just like
well, imagine pitching
throwing
that in
it
the
in the
back.
ring.
Imagine pitching on the back at Harley Race. Hey kid, I'm gonna take care of you. Don't worry. I'm gonna work a little snug. I'm gonna suplex you on the concrete, but you'll be fine. What? No. Oh God. But anyway, so the match continues. I think the match ends in disqualification after Race hits the ref. Then I think his brother David comes out. Kevin's brother David comes out to defend Kevin. And Kevin, he's kind of struggling on the mic. He's not the best promo. He's a good worker, but he's not the best promo guy.
And I
Um,
guess the real Kevin Von Erich was cool with it because I mean, I wanted to say he had some say in the movie.
I mean, I would assume Kevin, for all the interviews I've seen of him, the few that I have, he seems like a very humble guy. Like he doesn't have an ego of like you better present me as tough.
Yeah.
Like he seemed like he went into the family business reluctantly. Like he didn't want to be there. But yeah, so this happens. David kind of upstages him a bit by cutting a promo and becomes his daddy's number two. We then see Carrie, played by the Bears' Jeremy Allen White. He's training for the Olympics, and then they find out, hey man, boycott because of the 1980 Olympics boycott.
It wasn't the
Goes
80 Olympics.
1980 Summer Olympics.
That wasn't the Summer Olympics.
Are you sure?
80
Wikipedia
was
says
the
that it
Winter
is.
Olympics.
1980 Summer Olympics. Unless Wikipedia is full of shit.
I thought the Winter Olympics was between like it was the Summer Olympics and then 2 years after it was the Winter Olympics.
Correct, but 1980 had the Summer Olympics according to Wikipedia.
Interesting.
Mm. But anyway, fucking where were we? Boycott. He goes back home and his dad kind of feeds him a load of shit. I'm just gonna call it right there because Fritz says, "I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but you and I both know you're gonna end up wrestling. I'm not telling you what to do. but that's what you're going to become. He doesn't phrase it like that, but come on, what do you think he means? Um, and Kerry begins to practice. He gets his moves in. Um, and he presses him to form a six-man tag. They hold the six-man championships. They battle the Freebirds, which I was actually really sad that they didn't really dive into the Freebirds rivalry. Like
Yeah,
I
because
assume
the Freebirds were their biggest rivals.
not just that, like they set business on fire in Texas and all over the country. Like
Back
that
when
was a
Michael
reliable
Hayes didn't look
six-man
like a
match.
fat piece of shit.
The what?
Back when Michael Hayes didn't look like a fat piece of shit.
I mean, yeah, you're not wrong, man. I wish they would have dived deeper into that, but they don't. Um, what's it called? David is giving Kevin spot to wrestle Ric Flair. Uh, he'll wrestle him though when he gets after he gets back from Japan. We get a nice scene, I would say, of Kevin and Pam's wedding. That's when Kevin kind of tells David, "Hey, like I'm gonna be a father," and that's when he kind of catches also David throwing up blood. Um, while in Japan, now this is a part I do want to talk about because this is contested.
Oh, you mean
Apparently,
that he died of drug overdose?
yes. So, in Japan, supposedly David dies of enteritis, which is internal bleeding, essentially.
Yeah.
Um, it's disputed because on one side the family says that that's what the doctor says and he was vomiting blood. Maybe that's the part where Kevin was very like, you need to show this version of events, because on the other side supposedly it was a drug overdose, but they didn't want to present it that way because the Von Erichs were these
Wasn't
good.
it also rumored that Bruiser Brody cleaned up the drugs?
Yes, and that supposedly they said, oh, he died in the ring, like he died after a big match. He never wrestled in Japan. Supposedly he died before he even had his first match in Japan.
Mm.
Um, their family supposedly offered to show Dave Meltzer an official death certificate from Japan that shows like the toxicology report. But when he called them up on their offer, they said they reneged on it. They said, no, you know, we're good. Um,
The
so
late great Dave Meltzer?
the great Dave Meltzer, the guy that Vince McMahon has not killed yet, shockingly. Uh,
It wouldn't be a waste.
I mean, if you like Dave, you like him. If you don't, that's fine. I don't care about Dave and his fucking star ratings. If he didn't give Taker and Michaels a 5 stars at either match, fuck off. Anyway, uh, yeah. So he passes away, and this is another thing I wish they had dived into in the film. Although I guess they had time. The Von Erichs were seen as good Christian loving country boys, right, from Texas, right? They could do no
Yeah.
wrong. I wish they had dived into that a little more to show like, hey, we have to save face. Like we can't show everyone like who we really are. Maybe that's just me.
What do you mean? I mean, it showed
Um,
them doing steroids.
no, but like to the public, I wish their dad had been like, you need to keep this shit under control. If you're gonna fuck around, you fuck around in private or you stop. Like you do
I'm also
not let
surprised
people
they
see.
didn't mention that their dad played a Nazi.
Yeah, they didn't mention that either. That's why Fritz was such a great bad guy, was because yeah, he played a Nazi.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so they do a coin flip apparently, between Kevin and Kerry to figure out who's gonna get Ric Flair's title shot, and Kerry
Was that
wins.
true?
The coin flip, I think it wasn't a coin flip. I think Kerry was just chosen. Like Fritz was like, we're gonna go with him.
Yeah, I think it was just they chose Carrie because if you look at the real Carrie Von Erich, you would understand why they chose Carrie Von Erich.
Why? I
And
thought he was a little more lanky.
Carrie?
Kerry
No,
Von.
Kevin was lanky. Carrie was fucking jacked.
See. Oh yeah. Damn, he is pretty jacked. Let me see. Let me see Kevin
There's a
back
reason
in.
why he was tag teaming with the Ultimate Warrior at one point before he was the Ultimate Warrior.
Let me see here. Kevin Von Erich. Yeah, you're right. Kevin wasn't small, but he was not as big as his brothers. You're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, did you
Um,
catch that little that Easter egg that Fritz says at the dinner scene?
no, what part?
He name drops Ultimate Warrior.
Really? I didn't catch that.
Yeah, he's like, I see they're giving your old tag team partner, Hellwig, a push over there. Maybe they'll give you a push soon too.
I didn't catch it. No, that went over my head.
This guy.
Um, what's it called? So I wish they'd also talked about the Parade of Champions. They organized this big event to happen, in David's honor, the fallen comrade. But we don't see the match, and I understand, but still.
We don't see a lot of matches.
Which like they couldn't have included 5 minutes worth of wrestling in this movie, in this wrestling film. I don't know.
Like for a fucking movie that bases its entirety in wrestling, they hardly show any goddamn fucking wrestling.
I have no idea why though. Like that would have fit, but um. So here's the thing, and you'll know this from the background. Kerry does win the world title, the NWA championship, but he wasn't meant to hold it for very long because promoters thought that he was very shoddy. They don't really show this, but they have a problem with him because he shows up late, if he shows up at all, not dependable, sluggish in the ring. Apparently, he had a great look, but he wasn't the most dependable guy or the best worker. So they
Mm.
get the title off him pretty quickly back onto Flair. I'm not sure if it's before or after he loses the title. That's when,
Oh, his car accident?
yeah, where he was. I don't know if he was wasted, but he was on a motorcycle, and that's when he loses his right foot.
Yeah.
And it was shocking because like
Well,
back
didn't
then they
he
were able to keep it
really
a
lose the
secret.
foot because he kept trying to come back too soon?
I don't know about that part. You could be right. That I don't know. I just know
So
he
when I was
lost the
looking it
foot.
up, apparently, like I think they officially had to cut off the foot because he tried to wrestle or he tried to come back too quick.
Yeah. I didn't know that part. I just knew that he had his foot was amputated. But I mean, you could be right because of how would you say their dad was borderline abusive or just straight up abusive?
It's not abusive, dude. Is he hitting them?
That's what I'm saying though. Like he's not hitting them, but
But
you and I
if you
both
talk to dudes, men from that time, those guys were different. Like their dads came from World War II, World War I. Like these guys weren't shown love. Like their form of love was doing things great. Like he didn't show him hitting them.
let me see. It does not say if he was ever violent towards the boys. It does
Yeah.
say he ruled it with an iron fist, but it never explicitly says that he
But
was.
that's the thing. Being strict and being abusive are two different things.
But would you say that Fritz he pressured? I would argue that he definitely pressured Carrie to come back too soon.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if he pressured him, but I mean, Kerry also definitely probably wanted to come back also. Because I mean, he got pushed to the top. Who doesn't want to come back to that?
What like, but isn't also, and this is semantics, I guess. Isn't it also the job of a father to like protect his kids even from themselves?
What do you want him to do? Fight him? He's a grown fucking man.
Break his other leg. Hey, you can't come back if your
So
other leg's
you
broken.
think it'd be more
I'm kidding.
acceptable for him
I'm
to break
kidding.
his own son's leg?
I'm kidding
You have
mostly.
weird hills to die on, Eddie.
That wasn't a hill I would die on. But so after the accident, Kevin begins to train Mike, who is not made for this. Mike essentially, and folks, we're gonna be off for a minute. There is actually another Von Erich brother that was not featured. The youngest brother named Chris, who
Yeah.
was the smallest. He apparently had brittle
He was
bones.
tiny.
Tiny guy who kept
Brittle
breaking his.
bones from asthma.
I thought it was because maybe he was the youngest and his mother didn't have much to give him.
No, he had asthma.
Oh shit, did not know that. But yeah, he was the smallest. He was brittle bones and not the most coordinated. Uh, the director said essentially like I couldn't fit another death in this goddamn film without it being too depressing. So he
Yeah.
essentially created an amalgamation of Mike and Chris and just made Mike.
Yeah, because even Mike still wasn't. he really wasn't cut out for the wrestling business.
No, he genuinely liked music, like in real life. But again, he said their dad basically said, "Your bitch ass is gonna wrestle whether he wants to or not." And so, welcome to family business, kid. Um, which he trains, he wrestles his match. He injures his shoulder on a routine drop kick. Um, and here's the thing: this is the part where there's a bit of a disparage between the film and real life. What essentially happened was he has a routine surgery. Mike has routine surgery, goes home, goes into shock. They take him back. Turns out he had an infection. It was like a 1 in a million chance. Gets this massive infection, goes under, loses oxygen, may have had brain damage, may have suffered brain damage from this. Um, and then they have this really bad press conference that they do actually have in the film where
Oh,
he's
you mean
just
where you could
out of
tell,
it.
like, hey, I think he lost a lot of oxygen during his surgery.
Yes, because fuck, he looks bad.
But did you see the Dark Side of Wrestling episode of the Von Erichs?
I've probably seen it at some point, but it's been a minute.
So there's like a an inner I think it's the same press conference that they do in the movie. And I don't know if Mike was as fucked up as they made him look in the movie.
Let's see. Like, was he responding well, or was he like talking
Yeah, it
over?
looked like he was responding fine.
Mike Von Erich interview, press conference. It might be. Was it the one where he was wearing a white robe?
Yeah,
I think that's the one that they talk about when they say like he was in no shape to talk. He was in no shape to be there.
yeah. Like they showed some clips and he didn't look as fucked up as they made him look.
I don't know. That it's always been the big story is that how fucked up he was and how like ill-timed that press conference was. And I think it's around this time that they actually MJF makes an appearance in the movie, if I'm not
Oh, you
mistaken,
mean
right?
the
Lance Von
cutout
Erich.
where they cut out like a bunch of his pretty much all of his scenes?
Dude, I wonder if MJF was pissed about that.
I mean, it's the movie business, man. They'll like you can get mad at it, but it happens. Like they cut out like a lot of shit like when it comes to like putting out that final product. But I mean, the grand scheme of things, the Lance Von Erich story is kind of stupid.
But I see, I think that could have like played into the whole like we can't like we need to portray ourselves as good Christian country living boys.
Mm.
They when it came out about Lance, like the public's not stupid. They recognize Lance, he's a wrestler from another part of Texas.
Yeah.
That damaged their credibility with the audience very quickly because of that.
Yeah, because I
Um,
mean, they were just trying to portray like, hey, like we're okay. Obviously, you're not.
we brought in our cousin that you've never seen before, right? And fucking he was a local boy. Um, but they pretty much cut him out. Let me see. Mike then unalives himself via I think pills, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Pills, yeah, and then he
Yeah.
goes and wanders off into the forest.
See, and this is when we get like a really I don't know about you, but that was it was sad as hell when the mom's like people are gonna recognize the dress. Like she
Oh yeah.
doesn't like fuck. You're not oh man, that was sad. Um, and then the tragedy continues. Kevin then starts to distance himself from his wife and his son because he truly believes in the curse, so much so that apparently he actually made sure that his son's last name was not Von Erich, it was Atkinson,
Yeah, his actual last name.
because he didn't want his son associated, which, I mean, do you blame him?
But even his last name is Atkinson.
Carrie?
Yeah. No, Kevin.
Kevin? I
Their real
mean,
name is Atkinson.
no, I know that, but their stage name was Von Erich, and he wanted him
Oh
so far
yeah.
away. He made sure that his name was not his last name wasn't
I
Von Erich on
I didn't think
record.
that scene was as powerful as they're trying to make it to be because I'm just like, yeah, that'd be a little weird. You don't see Rey Mysterio in the hospital room saying, "I want my kid to be named Dominic Mysterio."
I mean, some people live the gimmick, man. I think Fritz's actual legal last name was Von Erich. Like, I think he changed it, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know,
Let me
maybe.
see. Fritz Von Erich. No, birth name, Jack Barton Atkinson. Family
Oh, look,
Von Erich.
Atkinson. Whoa, what a coincidence.
Let's see. Rename. I wonder if he changed his name legally. Anyway, uh, what's it called? So first brother, off some no. First brother dies of drug
Guys,
overdose slash medical things.
supposed drug overdose.
Yeah, slash medical reasons. Second brother takes too many pills and wanders off into the distance and
Did you
passes
say
away.
unalives himself?
Yes.
Are you 5?
No,
Are
I'm
you a
in the YouTube ones.
5-year-old? Do
Shut
you
the
not know
fuck
how
up.
to say he killed himself?
I don't know if that's too cruel to say. Like he kills himself because I'm also gonna post this on YouTube, so we might get struck for the suicide comment. But fuck it, who cares at this point?
But
We're too small for it to
it's
matter.
it's it's a fuck. It's the term.
You're not wrong. I'm not arguing with you that yeah, that's the right term. I'm saying YouTube is stupid sometimes.
I get
That's what I'm
annoyed
gonna
on
agree with
TikTok
you.
also whenever people start talking about like true crime shit and like if that topic comes up, they'll
Yeah, no,
say
life themselves.
unalived himself.
Because otherwise they get dinged. Like if that's legitimately how they make their money, they can't say the word suicide.
I know, and I'm just like, but that's what happened.
Take it up with the fucking with the dead man.
Maybe the people that they're so afraid that shouldn't be looking at this probably shouldn't be on TikTok in the first place.
I'm not gonna disagree with you on that one. Fucking parental controls, man. Um, what's it called? You know what's the funniest way I heard someone refer to it?
Uh-huh.
Permanent self bye-bye.
Oh my God.
I know.
That makes me irate.
I actually got a chuckle from me. They were talking about a TV show, but still. Anyway,
Ugh.
side tangent put aside. Carrie, Carrie is the only one continues to wrestle with his prosthetic foot. Where you, dude, I don't know about you, but that hurt when he tries to run with the prosthetic.
I thought it was funny as shit when Kevin knocked the shit out of him.
Oh, like you can't do this, like you can barely.
Yeah, well, because Carrie's being fucking stubborn, and he's just like, I'm gonna knock the shit out of you just to prove that you're being stubborn.
Ah, no, dude. I mean, sometimes, man, that's what brotherly love is. Like, if you know your brother's in a bad spot and you won't fucking listen,
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I imagine you got to try and make him listen one way or another. Um, what's it called? Carrie. So fast forward to Christmas. Carrie gives Fritz a gun, like a cool gun, but apparently he's mad because Fritz won't use it. He won't fire it.
It was
Ca-
from the research I did, it's not the that wasn't the gun that he gave him,
Mhm.
but I mean,
I
I think
believe
it
it.
was pretty close to it.
I mean, you could be right. I'm not too familiar with the circumstances surrounding the suicide. I just know that he did shoot himself. Although, for what I understand in real life, it wasn't as he called him
Oh yeah.
and
It
he
wasn't Kevin that found him, it was the dad.
yeah, but also I don't think he ever called him. I think he just shot himself and the dad stumbles upon the body, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
Yeah, Kevin never gets that call. It's never as dramatic as it was in the movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the dad finds him and then he's there next to the tree. I always thought that
Um,
was such a odd way to do it. Like, I don't know if that screams like precursor to CTE, but like to not, go for the head and he went for his chest.
maybe to him he thought if I shoot myself in the heart, like that's an insta kill versus in the head, if I live, it's gonna hurt. I don't know.
Or maybe like open casket for his mom, but like,
That's true. Maybe you're right. I don't want mom to see me this way.
yeah, because I mean, the only time I've ever seen people do that are the athletes that have CTE, but I don't know. I think he was too young to have CTE.
I think, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not CTE, but all the drugs.
Yeah,
Maybe
maybe.
rotted his brain. You never know. Um, he did also wrestle in the WWF back in the day, so I mean, it's not like they were looking for concussions.
Yeah, as the Texas Tornado.
He had the Intercontinental Championship, second biggest title in the world at the time.
They didn't even
Um,
let him use the Iron Claw finisher.
see, that never made sense. Why the fuck did Vince not let these guys do what they were known for? Imagine if he let Dusty Rhodes beat Dusty Rhodes. Like, just imagine for a moment at WrestleMania 8, they could have done Flair versus Hogan.
Yeah.
Imagine if they had done the first ever triple threat match there, and it was Flair versus Hogan versus Dusty.
Yeah.
Imagine the box office. Whatever, Vince, you're gone now. It's fine.
I mean, it's
Um,
not like Vince is against giving guys from other companies the title because he gave it to Rick.
that's true. Well, I think Rick was like era defining. Like, okay, how can I not put the title on him? Also, I think Rick earned his Rick Flair earned Vince McMahon's respect when he brought the world title with him. He was like, "Hey, man, I'm not just coming. I've got the belt, the
Oh,
actual
you
fucking
mean
belt."
what he was afraid that Bret Hart was gonna do?
Yeah.
Justifying the Montreal screw job?
Yes. Yeah. See, that's that hypocrisy. That's the fucking hypocrisy that I talk about with Vince. But anyway, um, fucking. So by this point, Kevin is running WCCW.
Mm.
Um, oh, he attacks his father, which I wouldn't have blamed him. But in the aftermath, he that's when we get another fucking emotional scene of Carrie crossing a river, leaving a coin behind, and he reunites with his brothers, Mike, who has a guitar, and David, who has the championship belt. He hugs him and he says, "Where's Jack Jr.?" And you think you're gonna see another adult, but you see this little kid that died before it was his time. And he just picks him up and is like, "Hey, you're my big brother. Nice to meet you." And then the four of them hug, and I dare you not to cry at that scene.
That was a very emotional scene.
Fuck.
If only Chris
Uh,
could have been there.
oh yeah, okay, I get what you're saying.
Sorry, Chris, you're not worth it.
Thanks for you. Okay, for a second I thought you meant Benoit. I was like, why the fuck? Oh yeah, the other brother.
Jesus, dude.
That's why I was like, why are you mentioning him? Oh wait, you meant the other brother.
Yeah.
Okay, no.
I do think that's a little fucked up though that they don't mention Chris at all. Like
I,
I feel like you don't have to show his death, but you can mention it.
I maybe this movie was overstuffed as it was. Thing is, this movie's only 2 hours. Like it could have been longer. This
Yeah, I was
is
like overstuffed. It wasn't even that long.
this could have been a 3 hour movie, and there's so much tragedy to the story. They could have done it. I really think they could have. Um, but in the end, that's kind of the crescendo of the film. The movie ends with Kevin selling WCCW to Jerry Jarrett, father of Jeff Jarrett. Um, apparently his
Oh, Jerry
mom,
Jarrett, Jeff
yeah,
Jarrett's Pappy.
Jay double D. Nah, I can't. I did Jay double RET double T. I can't do the goddamn thing. Um, but anyway, yes, he sells it. Fritz is getting divorced from the mother of the Von Erich boys, and Pam is pregnant again. Fast forward, Kevin is they bought land, right? He always talked about like that was his goal was to buy a big plot of land so their family could live all together and stuff. A Von Erich like a house. And he sees his sons are playing football and he starts to cry because he misses his brothers and he misses being a brother. He misses playing with his siblings.
Oh, that
Because
comes out
like,
in the Vice documentary.
what do you
I
mean?
forget who says it, but one of them mentioned that Kevin did end up saying that like to someone, like I used to be a brother and now I don't have any brothers.
Yeah. Oh, dude. Fuck.
Well, I mean, yeah, because he pretty much had his own. He was born with best friends.
Yeah. And fuck, they're all gone.
Like they
Like,
did everything for each other. They even snuck out. Like they would do like normal shit, like sneak out of the house.
well, like when Mike wants to do a concert and the mom says no, and that's final. They sneak out like brothers. Like they're like, fuck it, let's go to a party. Let's all go together. Because that's what you do. Like, oh man, I'm sad. Um, and his sons tell him, like, Dad, we'll be your brothers. Like, yeah, just ripping at your fucking heartstrings. Uh,
I think
okay.
he moved to Hawaii, no?
Do they live in Hawaii?
Yeah,
I
I
know
think
they bought a ranch, but I don't
yeah,
know where.
I think he lives in Hawaii.
Let me see here. I know that picture of the whole family. Retirement, brief comeback. They defeated Mario Jannetty, personal life. Niagara Falls. It doesn't say where. It just says that he bought a massive family compound for his family to live in. It doesn't say where though. But I mean, fair enough, man. They can have their privacy. But man, just a tragic story all around. Do you feel like it portrayed enough of the reality?
Yeah. So here's an article from the Dallas Morning News. Kevin Von Erich, absent from Texas for 20 plus years, is buying a ranch. In an exclusive, the Dallas area wrestling legend says he's moving from Hawaii to settle in the state that he dearly loves.
When was that article written?
2023.
Oh, so he's just barely moving back to Texas. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess the ranch was in Hawaii.
I mean, that's a
Uh,
fucking I wonder how much he spent over there to buy a property like that.
well, I was reading his bio. Apparently, him and his wife dabbled in real estate in the 80s and they did well. So, fucking, by all means, they're Texas royalty. The Von Erichs are Texas royalty, so it makes sense.
Yeah, but
Um,
royalty doesn't mean shit when you don't got money.
no, but I mean that probably afforded them opportunities that we wouldn't have. Like, oh, I know you guys. I'll work with y'all. I don't fucking know you, but I know your name.
Maybe.
Um, well, yeah, the movie ends with the crowd finding out that they were inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2009. Um,
By
yeah,
Michael Hayes of the Freebirds.
and oof, the story ends. So the Von Erich family isn't entirely out of wrestling, though. Apparently, there are some grandkids that still wrestle. I think they're
Not
Kevin's
grandkids.
kids. No, they're Kevin's kids, aren't they?
Yeah. I
Oh,
think
sorry,
his
I
youngest.
meant grandkids. Like if Kevin's the kid, the grandkid.
Uh the his youngest.
Yeah, they're a tag
Uh
team, right?
Ross and Michael?
Let's see. I'm looking up
They wrestle
Von Erich.
in Ring of Honor recently.
Let's see. Lacey Von Erich, who already retired back in
Oh
2010.
yeah, that's another thing they don't touch on. Is that Carrie had two daughters.
Really? I did not know Carrie
Yeah,
had two
Lacey
daughters.
Von Erich is his daughter, and then there's another one.
Let's see. Well, Ross and Marshall Von Erich wrestle for
Yeah.
MLW currently, which,
Well,
oh,
they came
hey,
out in AEW recently.
yeah, they've recently appeared on Ring of Honor and All Elite Wrestling. They had a match at Rampage and then again at Winter's Coming.
I mean, you would think that they
Um,
would sign him.
I mean, are they good or are they just trading on their family name?
I mean, dude, it's a good family name. What's the difference?
I mean, David Flair is the difference. Too far? Too soon?
Hmm?
Too soon?
What'd you say?
I said David Flair is the difference.
I mean, David Flair had a host of problems besides wrestling.
Hmm. Daddy issues. A lot of daddy issues. But anyway, this movie, what's your overall thoughts on this film?
I mean, I liked it. Looking back at it, I'm like, for a wrestling movie, it doesn't really show a lot of wrestling. Um, I like the story, I like the cast. Um, I mean, it was interesting. Like, there's no other word to go about it. Like, it was a interesting movie, especially about a family that had some really shit luck.
What's it called? Do you think because of how great this movie has done, as far as like box office, reviews, pretty sure Zach might get nominated for something because goddamn, he tries. Um, And Lord knows A24 is a big, like, award-winning studio at this point. They're not really independent anymore. They're borderline
I
pro.
just think it's gonna be very hypocritical.
What do you mean?
Cause you're telling me that fucking Zac Efron and Jeremy what's his tits
Mhm.
didn't juice the fuck up on everything they could get their hands on?
I mean, probably, but like, what's wrong with
Zac
that?
Efron, if you compare his look from this movie to Baywatch when he was shredded, he
Hmm.
got jacked.
Let me see. He Von. Oh, so this is fun. Oh, side note. Kevin, the living Von Erich, praised Zac Efron for his performance and the way he portrays everything throughout the entire film. Also stating that the portrayal of his father Fritz was accurate. So they weren't like joking around. They're like, no, he was like this. Hmm. So hypocritical because of the steroids? But how is it hypocritical?
Like Hollywood loves to be like, oh, look at their performance. Look what they did to transform their body to look like these real people. Yeah, what did they do to get to that physique? It obviously wasn't legal.
Well, who said does Hollywood look down on steroids, or you mean like the media in general?
Media in general. Like, I'm
I
not
mean,
saying that everyone should be allowed to do steroids, but it's just funny that it's a quote unquote, schedule one drug, and it's openly used by actors, athletes, and no one gets in trouble for it, really.
no, yeah, it's not. It's not. Like I got nothing for you. Like you're not wrong. It's straight up hypocrisy. It just is.
Like, don't get me wrong. I don't think if you're a grown ass man that wants to do steroids, go for it. Have fun fucking up your testosterone. Have fun going on TRT at the end of the day, just to get your dick hard at the end of the night. Like, go for it. Have a great time with it. But it's also hypocritical because a kid sees that and those a kid's brain ain't fully functioning. They get their hands on steroids, they fuck up their natural testosterone production. Pro Unfortunately, if they do enough, for good.
Do you ever think that the guys that we went to high school with were on steroids? We don't have to say names, but do
No,
you think any of them were?
none of them were really big. And
There
if
was
they weren't doing them right.
there was one dude who I think was I'll bleep the fucking name just to remind myself. Albert Vasquez, I would argue, I think he no, he was on steroids. I can confirm that one. He's
Uh,
Nicki's cousin. Apparently, they caught him with the steroids and it kind of fucked him up, like mentally.
no, well, he wasn't that good, anyways.
Uh, Anyway, yeah. So this movie, you liked it. What would you give it? What are your ratings for this one?
Uh, B plus.
B plus.
I liked it. Like, I didn't hate it. Like, to be honest, I really didn't hate it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. Um, just looking back on it, like the things I would fix, like, I don't know, dude, show a wrestling match, a couple wrestling matches, God forbid, a feud. Um, Maybe not cutting out Chris entirely. Maybe, yeah, sure, cut out his suicide, but don't cut out the dude entirely. That's not cool.
No, God, add 30 more minutes to this movie. Show some wrestling. Show Chris, and we're good. And throw back in MJF. God damn it.
I mean, even that part, I was kind of like, I'm not indifferent, but it's just like, I'm like, I don't know. I feel like they chopped too much off, and then like they didn't add in enough.
Yeah. Well, folks, that's gonna do it for this episode of the rollback, talking about the Iron Claw.
Mm-hmm.
Fernie, you want to hit the outro?
Sure. Thank you, everybody, for joining us for our review of A24's The Iron Claw. Please check us out wherever you get your podcast needs. Google, Apple, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcast, that's where we are. We also put out videos on YouTube. Don't worry, Eddie's gonna start taking himself off the videos so you don't have to look at them as much anymore, and
I
then you'll
hate
be
you.
able to enjoy the videos. It's cool. Don't worry, we
I
get it.
hate you
We
so
got the
goddamn much.
feedback. We're implementing it. So you got it. Thank you for joining us for the review of Iron Claw. I'm Fernie,
I've been Eddie.
and let's cut it.